Just give it the full power and just see how it reacts. So you get a little bit of wheel spin and then a bit of rev hang. Oh, how good is this? It's like a lounge. Well, it actually is the Hyundai Staria Lounge. This is the new flagship variant of the Staria. It's the most luxurious model or variant since its launch in 2021. And yeah, it is built for family touring, massive road trips and so on, because it's just got so much comfort here, heaps of room. Like, look at all that leg room. I've got the seat rolled all the way back. You couldn't possibly need more leg room than that. And you've still got some in the back as well. So just check out the third row. With the second row slid all the way back, and I've still got knee room. So there's no shortage of space at all. And headroom is, yeah, it's not a problem. You've got a little bit of boot space left over, but you can roll the third row forward a little bit to open up more space. And as you can see, if you slid the second row forward a little bit, and then this third row as well, that would be totally fine. You'd still have plenty of comfort for all 5 passengers in the back here. You've got cup holders, got USB ports, pull-up sun blinds for both sides, but there is no flip-down armrest for the center. Not many sort of MPVs or people movers have that anyway. I'm not sure about the light color package of this. Like, if you've got a family, I reckon that light colored carpet would get pretty dirty pretty quickly. Even the armrests here, that very nice white leather and leatherette. But yeah, I do think it would get quite mucky in short time. And up at the back, as I said, you can slide this third row forward a little bit to open up more space. You can also flip it down as well, pull the strap, and move it right out of the way, and you've kind of got a dual level boot floor. And it is good to see you've got a full-size spare wheel under there as well. The other main highlight with the Lounge variant is the introduction of a hybrid powertrain. So you can get this hybrid in lesser variants than this top Lounge, but the Lounge only comes with a hybrid. It's a 1.6 litre turbo-petrol 4-cylinder engine paired up with an electric motor system via a 6-speed automatic, combining to produce 180 kilowatts and 304 Newton meters, making it more powerful than the diesel, but not as powerful as the old V6, which you can't get in this Lounge variant anyway, as I said. The top spec Lounge variant is priced from $73,740, which is, you know, a pretty big commitment. But if you look at any of the rivals in top spec form, they're priced either around the same or even higher than that. That is a lot, but you're getting a lot of vehicle for the money. It's actually massive. It's over 5.2 meters long and just under 2 meters tall, like way taller than me, which is not a very hard thing to be. In the front here, we've got the updated touchscreen and dashboard. You've got physical controls for all the climate, so that's great to see. You've got a wireless charger hidden beneath there, and then the latest touchscreen setup up above. I do love the way you've still got physical controls, so you can jump to the main menu options very easily. You've got a volume knob there as well. And as usual with Hyundai products, you've got conventional layout for all your controls on the steering wheel. You do have the new column shifter system like with Hyundai's other EV products. It just takes a little bit to get used to. I think it's fine because you don't actually have to take your arms off the steering wheel too far, take your hands off the steering wheel too far to change gear. You just kind of flick it around there. It's almost like using the indicator, kind of. Plenty of storage, as you can probably see. You've got this kind of pad here. It's not really rubber lined, but it's not scratchy plastic either. Same as the passenger side. Got nice backlighting there in green in this case. You've got storage down below on the center console, some charging options. You've got a big port at the front of the chunky center console as well as a opening section with cup holders. Yeah, you couldn't possibly need any more space really. For this video, I'm testing it as part of the official Australian media launch event. We're at Hart. This is a driver training center. So we've got a bit of a road loop around within the perimeter of the property. And we're just going to give it a bit of a test drive. I'm mainly interested to see how this hybrid system works, if it's smooth, if it's efficient. The official fuel consumption average is 6.5 litres per 100 kilometres, which is pretty good for a big vehicle like this. Like if you stack it up against a large SUV, 7-seat SUV, you know, 6.5 does look quite good. And with 180 kilowatts, it should go all right too. I don't know what it is, but there's just something about driving vans that's appealing somehow. I don't know. It's great visibility, I think, is probably one point. I can see over the side seal here. I can almost see the front tire. you just have this sense that you're driving around in a lounge room, but it's just very practical and easy to drive. Even though it is quite large, it doesn't really feel intimidating. I've got the lane keep assist and everything turned on. We'll just see how we go around this little road course. So this is designed to look pretty much like an Australian country road. So we'll just see if it picks up the lane markings and so on. We've got some faded lines and so on, so just see if it picks them up. We've got the speed sign warning flashing away. So what you can do with modern Hyundais, hold the volume button down, like the barrel wheel, just press it and hold it for 3 seconds, and you'll get a little speaker crossed out, and it'll come up on the dashboard there that the sound has been removed. So that still shows the speed sign recognition, but it won't beep at you. It does beep at you still when the speed limit changes, but it won't actually beep if you go over it by 1 kilometer an hour, for example. You can also turn the lane keep assist off just with the button on the steering wheels as well. You just hold that down. Now, what do we think about the handling? Well, it's got independent rear suspension, so it's not a full, agricultural farm style of workhorse vehicle that it's based on. It's based on the N3 platform, like the Hyundai Sonata, like the Hyundai Santa Fe, and a bunch of other vehicles. So it's got decent foundations. Obviously, it has been set up to be a people mover or van, but with independent rear, it's just providing that slightly better dynamic edge compared with some vans that just have a live axle. Look, it does feel quite flat and large. There's not excess body roll though. It does feel not bad. Just pick up the speed a little bit. Got 235 tyres all round. That's a decent amount of tread on the road. Yeah, look, it's not too bad. For an MPV or a people mover, I think these things handle all right. Even this tight, twisty section here. Tiny little bit of chirp from the wheel. Get on the power a bit too early. I think with the electric assistance, it's just helping fill in those gaps. You don't have to wait for the engine to rev up. You don't have to wait for the turbo to come on song. It's just, providing that initial help, and then you're on your way. Look, 304 Newton meters is not all that much, especially for this vehicle size and weight. But also the diesel produces more than that. It's about 400 Newton meters, but it comes on very low in the rev range, which is sometimes handy. But out on the highway, you might want to just cruise along. I think this would be nicer at cruising. Fuel consumption, obviously, for a hybrid, it's not the ultimate on the highway. It's going to be a bit better in sort of slower conditions, a bit like this, or in suburbs and so on, or in the city even, where the electric motor can have time to charge up, but also provide that assistance at low speed. Whereas on the highway, once you sort of wear down the battery, you're kind of relying on the petrol motor more so anyway. The lane keep assist doesn't seem to be too sensitive either, which is great. Like, even though I'm getting quite close to the lines, it's not interfering with the drive. It's kind of feels like it's understanding that I'm on a tight winding road, and yeah, you can't be completely parallel the whole time. I'll have more information in the written review linked in the description of this video, and we'll do a full performance test sometime down the track. I mean, there's no point in doing a performance test today, it's quite wet.